Welcome to the Crack Podcast. It really might. We are getting into one of the biggest questions out there when it comes to success, especially long-term success. You see people with incredible talent, early promise, but then they just stall.
Right.
While others, maybe less obviously gifted initially, just keep growing and achieve amazing things. So what is it? Is it just about having the talent? Or, sky-high intelligence, maybe it's just luck.
And that's what most people assume, isn't it? If you stop someone on the street, they probably point to you like talent, IQ, maybe genetics, something you're born with. But the research we're unpacking today, and this is based on literally 3 decades of top-tier psychological work, it points somewhere completely different. It's not about what you have inherently. It's about a core belief you hold about yourself.
And this is where it gets, well, frankly, a bit controversial, even counterintuitive. Because the source material we dug into shows that the stuff we think is positive encouragement. Like telling your kid, wow, you're so smart. Or telling an employee, you've got such a natural bent at this. That might actually be, planting seeds for anxiety and failure down the road without us even knowing it.
It's a huge contradiction, isn't it? It flips the script on how we typically think about praise and motivation. And this all comes from the work of Professor Carol Dweck, particularly her book, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success.
A book that's been a bestseller for, over a decade now?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And that tells you something about how powerful and evidence-based these ideas are.
Right. Let's just underscore that evidence part, because this isn't your typical self-help book, is it? This is built on serious long-term research.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about decades of systematic studies on motivation, how people achieve things, how they develop. Dweck herself, PhD from Yale, professor at Harvard, Columbia, now at Stanford. She's a giant in the field. And Virginia E. Mollier, professor of psychology at Stanford currently.
So we're dealing with a framework grounded in science, not just some nice ideas.
Exactly. It's a scientific perspective on how the mind shapes reality.
And the core idea, the really empowering part, is that this belief about your abilities, whether you think they're fixed or changeable, that's the key driver of success or failure. And crucially, it's a belief you can actually choose. You can change it.
Yes. It takes the power away from, destiny or genes and puts it firmly back into your hands, focusing on effort and strategy.
Okay, so for you listening right now, what's our mission here today? We want to give you a really clear, practical understanding of this whole framework. We're going to break down the 2 mindsets first. Then we'll look at how they totally redefine things like effort and failure. After that, we tackle those tricky communication traps, especially around praise.
Right. The praise part is key.
Then we'll zoom out and see how this plays out in bigger settings, like companies and teams. And we'll wrap it all up with some concrete tools you can use and a story that really drives it home. We want you to walk away feeling like you truly get this.
And hopefully ready to try some things out.
Yeah.
Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future deep dives.
Absolutely. Hit that subscribe button. Okay, let's jump in. All right, so let's lay the foundation. Dweck suggests thinking about our core beliefs, like 2 different operating systems for our brain, or maybe a better analogy is like putting on different pairs of glasses.
I like that. Glasses.
Yeah, the world outside is the same, but the lens you're looking through totally changes how you interpret everything, especially when things get tough.
That's a perfect way to put it. So the first pair of glasses, the first operating system, is the fixed mindset. If you're looking through this lens, you fundamentally believe that your core qualities, intelligence, talent, personality, even creativity are just fixed, set in stone.
Like you get a certain amount at birth, and that's your lot in life.
Pretty much, yeah. You believe you're born with a certain quota, and that defines your limits. Full stop.
Wow. Okay. If I believed that, if I really felt my intelligence was just a fixed quantity, my whole goal in life would have to shift, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be about learning.
Yeah.
It would be about constantly proving I have enough of that fixed thing, proving I'm smart, proving I'm talented, because failure would mean, it would mean I'm fundamentally lacking.
Exactly. You hit the nail on that. That's the core anxiety of the fixed mindset. It creates this deep-seated fear of vulnerability. So people operating from this mindset, they tend to avoid challenges.
Because a challenge is a risk of being exposed.
A huge risk. If they try something hard and fail, it's not just, oh, that attempt didn't work. It's, see, I am a failure. I am not smart enough. Failure becomes a final judgment on their innate worth. It concerns their deepest fear. You're only this good and you can't improve.
That sounds incredibly stressful, just constantly defending this internal image of yourself.
It's exhausting. Now let's swap the glasses. Take off the fixed mindset ones, put on the growth mindset pair.
Okay. Different view.
Totally different view.
Yeah.
With this lens, you believe that your basic abilities aren't static at all. They're dynamic. They can be cultivated, developed through dedication, through hard work, through learning from your mistakes, finding new strategies. The growth mindset acknowledges people start with different aptitudes, sure, but the fundamental belief is that everyone can get better with effort and learning.
So the life goal flips completely. It's not about proving you're great.
Right.
It's about becoming better. It's about development.
Absolutely. And that changes everything about how you see challenges. They aren't threats anymore. They're actually opportunities. Opportunities to learn, to stretch, to grow.
Yeah.
You understand that getting better often involves being uncomfortable.
And failure. What happens to failure through these glasses? It's not a judgment.
Not at all. It's information, pure and simple. It might sting, sure. Nobody likes failing. But it's not a statement about your fundamental worth. The internal narrative is more like, okay, that approach didn't work. Good to know. What did I learn? What's plan B? You separate the outcome of your performance from your core identity.
That separation seems crucial.
It's everything. Let's make this concrete. Think about two students, side by side, maybe facing a really tough math problem set, the hardest one of the year.
Okay, I can picture it. Both hit a wall. The fixed mindset student, what happens inside their head?
Instant self-doubt probably floods in. I knew it. I'm just not a math person. I can't do this. They might give up quickly, maybe glance around to see if anyone else is struggling more.
Why? To feel better about themselves.
They cling to. Their primary goal becomes ego protection.
Okay. And the growth mindset student, same tough problem.
Same problem, same difficulty. But the internal talk is totally different. It's more like, wow, okay, this is hard, cool, my brain's getting a workout. The difficulty isn't the sign of their inadequacy. It's a sign they need a different tactic.
So they try things. Ask for help.
Yeah, they'll try different methods, maybe look back at examples, maybe ask the teacher for clarification, asking for help as a smart strategy, not a sign of weakness. Their goal is just to figure it out, to learn how to solve this kind of problem, not just to look smart while doing it.
It's incredible how that subtle internal difference, just the belief about whether you can get better, leads down such different roads over years.
Over a lifetime. It compounds. The FM student gradually shrinks their world, sticking to things they know they can ace. The GM student keeps expanding their world, actively seeking out the edges of their current abilities, because that's where the growth happens.
And you mentioned this connects to the brain itself.
Yes, Dweck's work aligns beautifully with neuroscience, with brain plasticity. When someone with a growth mindset really digs into a challenge, puts in that focused strategic effort, they are literally forging and strengthening neural pathways. The effort is the growth mechanism. The fixed mindset person, by avoiding that effort, misses out on that very biological process of getting smarter.
Okay, so the mindset dictates how we see challenges. But where the fixed mindset really seems to cause damage is in how it interprets two universal experiences: failure and effort. Let's start with failure. You said earlier, for the FM person, failure is identity.
It really is. The coupling is incredibly tight. If you fail a test, you don't just get a bad grade. In their mind, you are bad at the subject, or even just stupid. Yeah. If a project you lead fails, you are a failure. Your self-worth is completely tied to the outcome.
That must create so much fear if your very identity is on the line with every single attempt.
The fear is paralyzing, and it leads directly to defensiveness. When failure happens, the FM reaction is often immediate blame shifting. It wasn't my fault, it was the circumstances. Or making excuses, minimizing the task's importance. Oh, I didn't really care about that anyway. Yeah. Or just shutting down or refusing to try again. Anything to avoid admitting fault, because admitting fault feels like admitting a permanent flaw in their core being.
So all the energy goes into protecting the ego, not learning from what happened.
Exactly. Whereas the growth mindset person, because they've managed to separate their performance from their identity, failure is still unpleasant, obviously.
Well, hey, nobody enjoys it.
But it's not devastating in the same way. It's primarily data. It's feedback. It's like an instruction manual saying, okay, this specific approach needs tweaking. They can look at it more objectively and ask, what went wrong here? What can we learn? How do we adjust for next time? They understand failure is just part of the process of achieving anything meaningful.
Okay, that contrast on failure is pretty stark. Now, effort. This one really surprised me in the source material. The fixed mindset views effort negatively, like it's shameful.
It's genuinely shocking, isn't it? But yes, in the pure fixed mindset world, needing to exert significant effort is often seen as proof that you lack innate talent.
How does that logic even work?
It's this flawed, romanticized idea of the natural. The myth is that if you were truly gifted, a real genius, like Mozart supposedly writing symphonies at age 5, it would just flow out of you effortlessly. Therefore, if you're visibly struggling, if you're sweating and working hard, that's public evidence that you're not one of the truly gifted ones. It reveals your inadequacy.
Wow. So effort becomes something to hide. You want to look like it all comes easily.
Precisely. It encourages this culture of effortless perfection, especially in highly competitive places. People might coast, doing just enough to succeed without looking like they tried too hard, just to maintain that illusion of innate brilliance.
Okay, so the growth mindset must completely flip that.
Completely. For the GM, effort isn't a sign of weakness. It's the engine of achievement. It's the path to mastery. It's what activates and multiplies whatever natural talent you started with. They understand that even the most seemingly gifted people put in thousands of hours of focused, deliberate practice. Effort is something to be proud of, celebrated even.
You can really see this play out in sports, can't you? Dweck talks about super talented athletes with a fixed mindset who just crumble when they hit a slump or face real adversity.
Because they never learn to cope with not succeeding immediately. They think their talent should make them immune to struggle.
And the classic counterexample is Michael Jordan.
Right. We all know the legend, but people forget the details. He famously got cut from his high school varsity team.
That's a pretty public failure for a teenager passionate about basketball. A fixed mindset reaction would be
devastation. Probably thinking, well, because I'm just not good enough. Maybe quitting, maybe blaming the coach, maybe just giving up on that dream.
But Jordan didn't do that.
No. He showed a classic growth mindset response, even back then. He didn't take it as a final verdict on his potential. He used it as fuel, as information. He famously said he went home and cried, but then he got back in the gym and practiced harder than anyone else. He used that failure to pinpoint his weaknesses and dedicate himself to improving them.
So the failure wasn't an end point, it was a starting point for focused effort.
Exactly. It was the data he needed to adjust his strategy, intensify his commitment, and ultimately, well, become Michael Jordan. That response, that embrace of effort in the face of failure, that's the growth mindset in action.
Okay, if mindset shapes how we see failure and effort, it must also shape how we talk about success, right? Especially how we praise others. And this section, based on the research, is probably the most immediately useful and maybe shocking for parents, teachers, managers, anyone who gives feedback.
This is definitely the danger zone. Dweck's research here is incredibly clear and for many, deeply unsettling. The core finding is this: praising innate qualities, particularly intelligence.
Like saying, you're so smart, or you're natural.
Exactly. That kind of praise, while well-intentioned, directly cultivates a fixed mindset in the person receiving it.
Wait, how? That seems so backwards. We praise intelligence to boost confidence, don't we?
That's the common assumption. But think about the underlying message it sends. When you tell someone, you're smart, the message they often hear is, my value, my success, the reason you approve of me. It rests on this fixed thing called smartness.
Ah, okay. So it puts pressure on them to always be smart.
Tremendous pressure. They now have to protect that smart label at all costs. So what happens when they inevitably encounter something difficult, something they can't do easily?
They panic.
Their internal logic goes, uh-oh, if I'm struggling or if I fail at this, it means I'm not actually smart. I've been found out. The praise, meant to build confidence, actually makes their confidence incredibly fragile and dependent on constant, easy success.
So it fosters a fear of challenge, because any challenge could potentially shatter that smart identity they were praised for.
Precisely. The fear of losing the label becomes stronger than the desire to learn or take a risk.
Wow. Okay, so if praising intelligence is potentially harmful, what's the alternative? Do we just stop praising people?
No, not at all. Praise is important. But Dweck argues strongly for shifting what we praise. We need to move entirely to process praise.
Process praise, meaning?
Meaning you praise the things the person can actually control and develop through their actions. You praise the process, not the fixed trait or even just the outcome. You link their sense of accomplishment to their effort, their strategies, their perseverance, their learning.
Okay, that makes sense. Focus on the how, not the what. Can you give some specific examples? This feels really important to get right.
Absolutely. So instead of, you got an A, you're brilliant, you praise the effort. Wow, I saw how much time you put into studying for that test, especially the tricky concepts. That hard work really paid off.
Or the strategy. I really liked how you broke down that big project into smaller, manageable steps first. It was a very smart way to approach it.
Exactly. Or praising perseverance. That problem was really tough. And I know you got stuck a few times, but you kept trying different angles and didn't give up. That commitment is fantastic.
So you're highlighting the actions they took, the controllable things that led to the success, or even just the learning during a struggle?
Yes. This reinforces the growth mindset because it teaches them that their competence isn't a gift. It's something they build through their choices and actions.
Okay, process praise. Got it. Now, the source material also mentioned a really simple linguistic tool, something about a single word.
Ah, yes. The power of yet. It's almost deceptively simple, but incredibly powerful.
Y-E-T. Tell us about it.
Think about how often we hear or say things like, I can't do this, or I'm not good at math, or I don't understand this. Those statements sound so final, so definitive.
Like a closed door.
Exactly, like a sentence has been passed.
Yeah.
But if you simply add the word yet to the end, I can't do this yet, I'm not good at math yet, I don't understand this yet.
It completely changes the meaning. It turns a fixed state into a temporary point on a journey.
It instantly reframes it. It transforms a statement of permanent limitation into a statement of current status on a learning curve. It implies future possibility and growth. It's a tiny word with massive psychological impact. It's like an instant GM booster shot.
I love that. Okay, and to really hammer home the impact of praise, we need to talk about Dweck's classic experiment. You mentioned it earlier, but the details are really telling.
They really are. It's one of the most cited studies in this area for a reason. So picture this. Researchers took a group of children, maybe fifth graders.
Okay.
First, they all solved a set of fairly easy puzzles, nonverbal IQ test type things. After they finished, the researchers praised them, but they split the kids into two groups for the praise.
And praised them differently.
Critically different. Group A got intelligence praise. Things like, wow, you must be really smart at these. Group B got effort praise, like, wow, you must have worked really hard on these. Just a subtle difference in wording.
Okay, same puzzles, different praise. Then what?
Then they offered the kids a choice for the next round of puzzles. They said, you can choose a set that's pretty similar to the first ones, so you'll probably do well. Or you can choose a set that's harder, where you might make mistakes, but you'll probably learn a lot.
Easy success versus challenging learning. What happened?
The results were stark. The overwhelming majority of the kids praised for intelligence group A chose the easy puzzles.
They played it safe.
They played it safe. They didn't want to risk failing and losing that smart label they'd just been given. But the majority of kids praised for effort. Group B chose the harder puzzles. They embraced the challenge, wanting the opportunity to learn.
Wow. Just that one line of praise shifted their willingness to take on a challenge. But the experiment wasn't over, right?
No, this is the crucial part. Next, all the children were given a third set of puzzles, deliberately designed to be very difficult, way above their current level. They were designed to induce failure.
Oof. How did the two groups react to that struggle?
The difference was dramatic. The smart group kids, praised for intelligence, got frustrated very quickly. Their confidence plummeted. They started saying things like, this isn't fun anymore. They basically gave up. They interpreted the difficulty as proof they weren't smart after all.
The failure felt personal.
Deeply personal. But the effort group, they were much more resilient. They stayed engaged with the hard problems longer. They were more likely to keep trying different strategies. They saw the difficulty not as a reflection on them, but as part of the challenge they were praised for tackling. They were less discouraged and actually enjoyed the process more despite the struggle.
That's incredible. It shows just how fragile confidence based on being smart is compared to confidence based on trying hard and learning.
And these individual mindsets, they don't just stay individual, they scale up. Organizations, companies, teams, even families develop their own collective mindset, a dominant culture that's either predominantly fixed or growth.
Okay, let's paint a picture of a fixed mindset organization. What does that look like day to day? The source material mentions the talent war.
Yeah, that's a big indicator. FM organizations are often obsessed with recruiting innate talent, the superstars. They believe success hinges on just having the most brilliant individuals.
Which sounds good on the surface, maybe.
Maybe, but it creates a really toxic internal environment. It fosters intense competition, where employees feel like they constantly have to prove they're smarter or more talented than the person next to them. It's all about looking good and guarding your status.
And that pressure must lead to some bad behaviors, right? If you can't afford to look weak or make a mistake.
Absolutely. It leads to hiding errors, covering up problems, being reluctant to ask for help or admit you don't know something. People might avoid challenging projects for fear of failure. In extreme cases, it can even lead to cutting corners or unethical behavior just to maintain that image of effortless success. And leaders in these places tend to focus development resources only on the perceived stars, neglecting everyone else.
Reinforcing the idea that talent is fixed and only some people have it. Okay, so what's the alternative? The growth mindset organization.
It's a fundamentally different atmosphere. A GM organization operates on the core belief that everyone's potential can be developed. Talent isn't just something you hire, it's something you cultivate.
So the focus shifts from competition to collaboration, learning.
Exactly. The culture prioritizes continuous learning, teamwork, and importantly, seeing challenges not as threats, but as opportunities for collective growth. Innovation is genuinely encouraged, which means accepting that some experiments will fail.
And failure isn't punished.
In a true GM culture, failure that comes from thoughtful risk-taking is treated as a valuable learning opportunity. You do a post-mortem, figure out what went wrong, share the lessons, and move on. It's not about blame, it's about improvement. Leaders invest in developing all their people, believing that a workforce committed to learning and effort will outperform a few supposedly brilliant individuals every time. Psychological safety is huge here. People feel safe to speak up, admit mistakes, ask questions.
That sounds like a much healthier and probably more innovative place to work. But Dweck gives a really important warning here, doesn't she? About something called the false growth mindset.
Yes, and this is crucial. FGM is perhaps even more damaging than an openly fixed mindset culture.
Why? What is it?
False growth mindset is essentially organizational hypocrisy. It's when a company or its leadership talks a big game about growth, learning, innovation, risk-taking. They use all the right buzzwords.
They put up posters about failing forward.
Exactly. They talk the GM talk. But their actual policies, procedures, reward systems, they operate entirely on fixed mindset principles.
Can you give an example?
Sure. A company might constantly talk about valuing innovation and learning from mistakes in their all-hands meetings. But then, when a team tries a bold new project and it doesn't hit its financial targets, the project lead gets demoted or even fired. The actions completely contradict the words.
Or maybe they say, we invest in our people's growth, but then all the significant training opportunities, the cool projects, the promotions, they consistently go only to the handful of people already labeled as high potentials or stars.
Right. It sends the message, we talk about growth for everyone, but we only really believe certain people are worth investing in.
And you said this is worse than just being openly fixed. Why?
Because it breeds cynicism and destroys trust. If a company is openly fixed, at least you know where you stand. But FGM creates this environment of pretense. Employees feel they have to perform growth mindset behaviors, pretend to be taking risks, while secretly covering up any actual struggles or failures because they know, deep down, the system will punish them. It's incredibly stressful and demotivating.
It sounds like it could lead to serious ethical breakdowns, too.
It absolutely can. Dweck points to Enron as an extreme example of a culture that worshipped innate talent and fostered brutal internal competition. While maybe not explicitly FGM in the way we just defined it, that underlying fixed mindset obsession, the need to appear brilliant at all costs, created a climate where hiding massive problems became the norm, ultimately leading to its collapse.
So if the mission statements and the fancy posters don't tell you the real story, how can you, as an employee or maybe someone looking to join a company, figure out its true mindset?
You have to ignore the talk and watch the walk. Look at the actual policies and, more importantly, the daily actions and reactions. How does the company really handle mistakes, especially high-effort ones that don't pan out? Is there a genuine process for learning, or is it about finding someone to blame?
Where do development opportunities actually go?
Exactly. Are training budgets and challenging assignments distributed broadly based on potential and effort? Or are they hoarded by the established elite? How are performance reviews conducted? Do they focus on learning and progress, or just on ranking people based on outcomes? Those concrete actions reveal the true operating system, regardless of the buzzwords.
Okay, this is all fascinating and potentially life-changing, but let's bring it right down to the ground level. What can you, listening right now, actually do with this information starting today? The source material gave us some really practical tools.
Yeah, these are things you can start trying immediately. Think of them as small mindset shifts with potentially big impacts.
All right, action step 1. Observe the voice in your head. This week, just pay attention. When you face something tough or maybe get some criticism, notice that first automatic thought. Is it the fixed mindset voice saying, oh no, I can't do this, or they'll think I'm stupid?
Just noticing it is huge.
Yeah.
You can't change a pattern until you're aware of it. Don't judge the voice, just acknowledge it. There's that fixed mindset thought again. Awareness is step 1.
Okay, simple awareness first. Action step 2. Change the question after failure. So next time you mess up, big or small, consciously interrupt the self-blame cycle. Instead of thinking, I'm such an idiot, actively ask yourself different questions.
Questions like, okay, what specifically can I learn from this? And what strategy could I try next time? It forces your brain to switch from judgment mode to problem solving and development mode.
I like that. Shifting from blame to learning. Action step 3. Practice yet and process praise. This is the language one. Internally, try tacking yet onto those limiting thoughts, I don't get this yet. And externally, make a real effort to change how you praise others.
Especially kids, but colleagues too. Catch yourself before you say, you're so talented.
Yeah.
And instead, praise the specific process. I really admire how you persisted through that difficult part, or that was a really creative approach you took. Focus on the effort, the strategy, the learning, the perseverance.
Make the controllable actions the hero of the story. Okay. And the last one for people in organizations. Action step 4. Become a false GM detective.
Yeah, put on your detective hat at work. Look beyond the slogans on the wall. Do the leader's words match the company's actual policies on things like risk, failure, promotions, training? Is failure genuinely treated as a learning opportunity? Or is their punishment even subtle?
So observe the reality, not just the rhetoric. Identifying that gap is key for navigating your own career and maybe even advocating for change.
Exactly. Knowing the real rules of the game protects you psychologically.
These tools feel really practical. And just to bring it home one last time, let's circle back to that praise experiment. Because the ultimate lesson there isn't just about kids and puzzles, is it? It's about where real, lasting confidence comes from.
It absolutely is. We often think confidence comes from being told you are good at something, that you possess the talent. But Dweck's work shows that kind of confidence is incredibly brittle. It shatters at the first sign of difficulty.
So where does real confidence come from?
Real resilient confidence comes from knowing you can improve through your own actions. It's built by recognizing and valuing the process that leads to competence, the effort, the strategies, the learning from mistakes, the perseverance. When you praise those things, you're building a confidence that can actually withstand challenges because the person knows they have the tools, effort, and learning to overcome them. That self-efficacy, that belief in your ability to grow, that's the bedrock of true confidence. Hashtag outro.
So if we boil this whole deep dive down, the big takeaway really seems to be this. Long-term success, genuine achievement, it doesn't really hinge on the talent you're supposedly born with.
No, it really doesn't.
It comes from making a conscious choice, a choice to adopt that growth mindset, the belief that, yeah, you can develop your abilities through dedication, through smart effort, and crucially, by treating every setback not as a verdict, but as feedback.
It's a choice that's available to every single one of us right now. You can choose to live in that fixed world, constantly proving yourself, or you can step into the growth world, constantly improving yourself. One path leads to stagnation and anxiety, the other to continuous development and, frankly, a more fulfilling life.
So here's the challenge to you, our listener. Pick just one of those action steps we talked about. Maybe it's just adding yet to your internal monologue. Maybe it's shifting how you praise someone today. Just pick one small thing.
And try it.
And just try it, maybe in the next 24 hours, because understanding this stuff is great, but the real change happens when you put it into practice.
And maybe leave yourself with this question to think about over the next few days. If you really committed to living with a growth mindset for, say, the next year, consistently seeking challenges, embracing effort, learning from every mistake, how might your life look different a year from now? How might your career, your skills, your relationships fundamentally change for the better?
That's a powerful thought to sit with. Remember, listening is just the beginning. Real growth requires that courage to try. Hey, if you got value from this deep dive, please hit that like button. It really helps others find the show.
And definitely hit subscribe so you don't miss our next exploration. We love having these conversations with you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Deep Dive and the Crack podcast. We'll catch you on the next one.